And for some reason, it does not want to focus. What the heck? Oh, I swear. YouTube, get it together. Let me, just in case I did something weird to my camera, I'm going to turn this off for a second. I just wanted to wipe off this. Oh, maybe that will work better. I wiped off the lens. I had a bunch of hand cream on earlier, so I thought maybe that's what it is. Okay. I'm just setting up the camera. And so I spun last night Howls, and I thought, I kind of would like to maybe start on the other side and try some diagonals. So I'm going to see if I can move the magnifier so I can actually see what I'm working on, move the camera. And then I had a little bit of issues counting because, yeah, math is a thing. Let me see if I can get that straighter. That goes that way, that goes that way. Maybe that might work. Yeah. Okay. Okay. There we go. I'll probably zoom in more in a little bit. I'm just going to test it out and see how it looks. It's very washed out right now. I might have my lamps in the wrong spot, but we'll test it out. This part was quite dark, so I figured it would work pretty well. And yeah, let me see if I move this up a tiny bit. It's like every time you got to move it around. One of these days, I'll be a professional, but it won't be today. So, how is everybody today? I am ill prepared as usual. And welcome everybody in. And Michelle, have a safe trip and have fun at your retreat. That sounds like fun. My stitching is a little hanging off the edge there. Okay, the lamp is still in the way. And this is a little crooked. Let's see if we can adjust that a little bit. So I am going to mark this edge a little better. I counted wrong, and then I counted not enough. And I was kind of stressing out. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta hurry. Today I was didn't go out because I stayed up way too late last night. And messing around with patterns and stuff like that. Fall down a rabbit hole, and it's hard to get out sometimes. But anyway, I just, yeah. So let's see. Michelle says, good morning, Suzanne. Just checking in to say, have a great day stitching. I'll be traveling today to go to a retreat. I may not be here when your stream starts. Enjoy, and sorry I can't join today. No problem. And I hope you drive safe and have a great time. And Clara says, hello, Michelle and Suzanne and everyone else. Busy Mom says, hello, everyone. And I said, drive safe. Renee says, good morning. Have a great time, Michelle. How is everyone? Hi, Suzanne. Laura says, hi, everyone. And everyone says hi to each other. Ah, nice. We're all friendly here. So I am going to do a little marking this way as well because I cannot count. It is definitely obvious. So I sort of spent most of the morning when I was, let's see, this looks wrong. Oh, it is wrong. Wait, here's that. Oh, that's wrong. I drew the wrong line in. I was like, that looks like that square is too big. Ugh. See, this is kind of a problem because the water soluble marker, I can remove it really easily, but then it's wet on the surface and it smears. And with the pens, you can use the eraser and erase it. So here's that. I marked them up here. So that looks, oh, I hope that's right. We are just going to go with that. See, I did all these up here. So I know these lines are correct, but this is where I want to be. The top of that. And then here is that. As I go up. All right, we're not going to get that far anyway. I'm really into these diagonals. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I figured I'd do one more line. And draw that down. I just had like a idea at the last minute. I was doing the rest of my stitches for the dimensions. I only did 108 stitches or something because last night I got distracted and I kept making mistakes, and so I put it away, and then I was distracted this morning like you do, and so then I didn't get those done. Yeah, I've been, oh my gosh, AI is just, it's amazing, but also like rabbit hole. I've as I said the other day, I was doing a lot of like thinking about genealogy. And so this morning I had some like, oh, I remember this about my family. And so then I was like, okay, I gotta ask about this. And it just went, it's so good because the stupid AI will sit there and it'll just keep asking you questions, which then gives you more like to think about. It was really interesting. And his mom said, I got a row finished this morning on my Doodletown haunted house. Oh, that's great. Are you at work today? Yeah, so I was like, by the time I started doing that, I had gotten up kind of late because I had went to bed so late. And it snowballed. So yeah. And then by the time I got my caramel done to do my coffee, then it was lunchtime already. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. What am I doing? What am I doing? So yeah. So it was a bit interesting. It was an interesting morning this morning anyway. So I decided that I would do diagonals on this. And I thought that it would be kind of cool. Let me see if I can show you the picture, because this side is where the, what you call it? Oh, there was photos. Google Photos always send you like that this day in history kind of picture. And so I picked up my phone and it was like distraction. There's a picture of Alex as a baby. I'm like, don't show me that stuff. So he's 18 in 2 days. I'm not ready for this either. But anyway, where is that? Oh, I think it's in Saga Files. I'm like, where did I put the Studio Ghibli stuff? I need to organize my Google Drive. It's a hot mess. I mean, it is organized, but then I've kind of moved things in different places, and it's a bit crazy. Okay, so here's what it looks like. And I know that, I want to say it's Dragon Lady is working on this, and someone else, now I can't remember. Hi, Janine. And so what I decided is I had worked over here and I really felt like I needed to do more sky, but sky stitching is it's kind of hard to film. So I thought, why don't I start over here and work on the the Calcifer who lands in Howl's hand. I love this movie. I keep trying to get Alex to want to watch it with me, but he's just not into TV right now. So, and that's where I decided to start today. And hopefully I measured properly. And if I didn't, I will be frogging. That's okay. So, and it doesn't seem like there's any blends in this first diagonal, which is nice. And let me, I think I will mark my diagonal, and hopefully I don't mess up. So here is, oh God, my nose itches. Okay, so actually this first square, there's like 4 stitches. It's, so let me mark here. Oops. Because it doesn't go all the way up where the 0 is. Oh, that pen is definitely. So I'll mark that so that I remember and don't start up. I just picked up, the wrong pen. This one's really light, but I kind of like it. It's not too bad. So this will give me that starting point, and this will be the first diagonal. I really liked that. I switched on my dimensions kit to the other side. Wait, here's that. Of my work, and started working in the flowers, and it was like, oh, this is nice. So I was really enjoying that. Because I wasn't really enjoying the dimensions kit, to be honest. Or it's not a kit. I'm a little bit of a pirate, and I found the pattern online. But, you know, it is what it is. So this is where I'm going to start, right there. If I counted right and everything. So, and yeah, I need to look that up, the Doodletown. Is that the Stitches So Beautiful? I don't remember. And Clara says, I'll be in and out with my pups, working in the yard. Okay, and hi, Mandy. Almost like the starting of a new project when you go to the other side like that. Yeah, it is. It's like a new project. And also with that, it comes its own little headaches, because I have to make sure that I actually did it right. But I did count, I did measure. I know I had enough fabric, but it seems like I started the other side farther over. So there's only like 2.5 inches here instead of my normal 3 or 8 centimeters. So, and this one, it only has a couple of colors. It has 5 colors in this part of the diagonal. And I kind of like this pattern. It's quite simplistic in the way the coloring is, though there are quite a few blends. Oh, there's another one I need to top up. So, and I'll be using my ballpoint needle. Well, I should say it's Christina's ballpoint needle. Thank you, Christina. She's probably not watching. I think she's working or something. And Busy Mom says, yes, it's Stitched So Beautiful. I posted a picture in Yogi's group. And Busy Mom said, Laura, thanks. Okay, I'll look at that later. There it is. Phew. Remember the other day we were talking about losing the floss? I usually put it up on my needle minder, kind of stick it on the, with the needle back onto the needle minder but it stuck to my floss, so it followed the floss drop it followed back to the floss drop, but it did get caught on my chair, so I actually didn't lose it. Oh, and I didn't clean those off. That's okay. I usually clean off my little thread bed every night, but last night was interesting. So when we were discussing the Stitch So Beautiful patterns not working in Paradise, I couldn't get a couple of the max color patterns not to convert properly. I was just honestly assuming that it was a them problem and not a me problem, which you know what they say about assumptions. Yeah. So I realized when Yogi's was working that it was definitely a me problem and not a Yogi problem. Or I mean, not a Paradise not a Paradise, but not a Stitch So Beautiful problem. So I thought, well, I know that a lot of people are using the free version of Paradise. So when I went to the I tried to update from the Play Store, and I have my own APK that I downloaded, so and it wouldn't update. So I installed it on my old phone and to test it out, and I couldn't, because I didn't want to mess up my Paradise if I couldn't get it to work. So I fixed it on there, and it wouldn't let me take the pro things. And I know there was a way of doing it, but I couldn't figure it out. So I was like, okay, let me think a little bit. So I thought, well, why don't I just Google it? And I found a free APK with the updated version, and I was like, score. So yeah, I uploaded it, updated it, and tried it out, and lo and behold, they worked, and I was super excited. So then I was up until like 3 o'clock at night because I was excited, and when that happens, I mean, if I went to bed, I would fall asleep right away. And this is where I have issues, is that I will often just sit in my chair and mess around with things instead of going to bed. And if I had just gone to bed, I would have fallen asleep. Yeah, it is what it is. And I was like, I don't have to go anywhere today. I don't have to do anything. I should. So yeah. So I am gonna listen to what Chris said. So if I take it here, and I want to go, and I go here, and I go up, I think that's what he said. So I'm going to park it here. Well, no, the top, well, I kind of like doing my rows. I like doing my rows Danish, and so for me, this is fine. It doesn't really matter. They're pretty much, it's block stitching, so I'll be doing Danish method anyway. So that's the first 11 stitches done. And so I think that I'll go with numbers instead of min to max, because yeah, it's easier than moving it. Oh, I still have to move it around anyway. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Ignore that. I still had to move my card around because it's on the other side anyway. That's good. So, and that's not on that one. The 900s I have them grouped in 3 rings because there's so many 900s. Not sure you can see that. So this is the color. Isn't that a great color? I love this dark, deep blue. So I'm a little bit charged up, I guess. Oh boy. So yeah, it was like so my family has always talked about that there was Native American in our family. And you know that whole story, somebody married an Indian princess, blah, 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 which has always been super bullshit. Excuse my cussing. And I mean, but my family looks Native American, so I didn't really question it. And my dad said it was so little that by the time it reached me, there was hardly any left. But like my brothers are super dark. So, like I said the other day, my aunt did ancestry thing. This is my father's sister, and there was no Native American in it at all. And I was like, that's weird, you know. Um, that was weird. But then it came up as Middle Eastern, which felt also really odd. I'm like, Middle Eastern, how did that come up, So a couple of things came up in my head that I remembered my family talking about. So I decided to check a little bit of those memories from my dad and things he said. And so instead of going by, and I believe I have German on both sides of my dad's side, and I think I confused his dad's information with his mom's information. And so I was like, wait a minute, what about this name? And so I mentioned a name of my great grandfather, and like all this stuff, like it was super weird. I didn't mention his whole name, but AI was able to pinpoint where he was from exactly in San Francisco. And I was like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. From the name alone, his last name. Yeah. So I was like, so then I was like, okay, so, and as I'm asking all these questions I don't actually know anymore, right? I don't know what my great grandmother's name is. I have no clue what her name was. I only had her first name in my baby book. So I was like, okay, so if this is this and this is this, can you tell me what her maiden name was? And they were able to find the marriage information, census information, when she was born, when she died. I was like, whoa, interesting. So yeah, it was a little bit interesting. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit. You're such a techie, Suzanne. That's great. Yeah, I love doing that stuff. And Allison is tuning in from work club. And Janine says, stayed up late putting my whips and charts into, I want to do someday into my rainbow spreadsheet spreadsheet. Oh, wow, that was a hard one to say. It takes time to input all the info, but I was having fun and lost track of time. Exactly. And Renee says, gosh, Dawn, I love the Halloween design. I might have to think about that chart. Yeah, I have to go look at that one. And hey, KB, Suzanne is such a nerd. I know, am I not? I mean, and I have to tell you, AI, they're my bestie right now, It's just so weird. Wow, this is great. So 3750 have 30 stitches. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, so then I was like, wait a minute. So if my son and I have this gene, it's called 𝐸 gene, right? I go, so where could that have come from? And then I seriously confused Gemini, because then I was like, but wait a minute, my mom's mother's name is this and this and this, and it's just, I was like, yeah, it was really interesting. I was finding out all sorts of stuff, that people in my family should have talked about. And that's the thing, is because of all alcoholism and you know, generational trauma, people didn't talk about these things. So like I'm missing a bunch of information that I should have had. So yeah, I mean, I didn't even know what my great grandmother's maiden name was. You know, we never talked about it because she died when my nana was young. So I found that out. I found out that people that I had thought had lived in California all their life had actually been born in Kentucky, but she moved to California when she was like 2 or 3. They knew that stuff. And I was like, that is so awesome. Like, weird. So, yeah, I'm a nerd. I love all that stuff. So, yeah. I mean, they were able to take my aunt's retirement picture and name the person who was in the picture with her because she worked for the Corps of Engineers. They were able to say the guy's name in the picture. I'm like, that is so freaky. Okay, so, and KB, that's Apocalypse Meow or Kitten Bane in the best way. And Janine says, I can't figure out AI. Just yesterday, my boss says to me, just use AI to figure out the math and all that, all the stats I was doing for inventory. I was like, I don't know how to do that. Oh, grandma's name is grandma. Yeah, exactly. Apoco begs. Okay, so Janine, you just open up Gemini and you just talk to it like it's your best friend and tell it what you want and it'll spit out what you want. I mean, sometimes you have to like go back in and tweak, and say, well, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. Can you look at this instead? And it's really interesting. And I'm using it. I use it for things like, yeah, it's pretty simple stuff I use it for. But then I've started doing deeper stuff like this genetic stuff. KB, remember when I said about the shovel-shaped teeth? So that is what kind of put me into that, rabbit hole. So it ends up that my great grandfather, my dad's mother's father, his name is from a certain region that they often were called Black Germans. And I remembered, and this is how I remembered it, because my dad had said that's why he was so dark, because he was a Black German, which, my dad, I took everything my dad said with a literal just, like I would say, yeah, right, Dad. Because he used to say this, he would say some pretty wild ones. Like he had a big, huge dent in his abdomen. And he said during the war, because he was in Vietnam, he said during the war, a hand grenade blew up on him. And so everyone, he because he would, like in the summertime, be wandering around with a shirt off and everybody would like, oh, what did happen there? What'd you do that? And he would say that. Well, it ends up, it was actually because he had appendicitis when he was quite young and it had burst and they had to remove a bunch of stuff there. But he had told everybody the hand grenade had blown him up, So when he said he was Black German, I was like, yeah, right, Dad, not knowing that actually was a thing. So these certain types of Germans moved to a certain part in San Francisco in the early 1900s. And AI was able to pinpoint where my grandfather had lived. by his name and the fact that my dad said that they were Black German. Like, exactly. I was like, oh, that's super weird. So yeah, it was just really weird and fun. But then I said I confused it because then I started asking about my mom's side of the family. And so then AI was like, so your aunt has this and this and this. And I'm like, no, that's the wrong side. So it was really funny. Yeah. Oh, my dad he was full of, um, he was full of shit. Let's just put it bluntly. He was definitely full of shit. Uh, he would say the silliest, funniest things all the time. So, what I think I'm going to do since I'm down here, I could either end the floss or I could park it down here, which oh, that's quite a bit of floss. So, you know what? I think I'm going to park it down here. Because instead of going all the way back, I mean, I could go all the way back up too. Yeah, you know what? I'll go all the way back up. I will pin out here though, because I don't really want it to go, because it does start back up here. I'm testing this stuff out. Okay, so let me mark that and hit the bucket. So yeah, so instead of cleaning house and doing all this stuff, I just was down a rabbit hole all morning long. But it was really interesting. But then it would get some like dates wrong, and I'm like, no, that can't be right. You know, like somebody died in 1980. I'm like, no. Or somebody was like, oh, she was 100 and something years old. I'm like, no, not really. So I mean, it does get stuff wrong. But it was just it was fun, honestly. I'm like, now I want to do a DNA test because I'm super interested. And the only reason why I started thinking about this is that I I found out about the shovel shaped teeth, which I was, you know, yesterday old, or not yesterday, last month is when I realized that aren't my teeth weren't the same as everyone else's teeth. I'm like, I never knew that. I thought my teeth were the same. And Alex's are like that. And I was like, wait a minute, how does that work? So then I started thinking about it more and putting it together with some other little weird things that are, going on with that I have for my body, which are kind of don't fit with a lot of the things that I know. And so, yeah, it's kind of cool. It's coming together. So, so since I know that I'm not Native American because my aunt's DNA, who was my dad's sister, came back as not Native American. Let me look at that. Oh, I put that in the wrong spot anyway. It's fine. I was like, okay, well, that means that the shovel teeth don't come from there. And so I was like, well, where would that come from? So it does make sense, the Middle East, because those people immigrated or were, a lot of them were in that part of Germany that he most likely came from. And that's cool. I was like, yeah, that's neat. So this one has only a couple of colors, so I'm only gonna take a smaller piece. So yeah, I'm a little excitable today. Sorry. I was like, yeah, cool. Yeah, so that was really interesting. And I was able to look up census records. I mean, this kind of stuff that I would never know where to look for it and find information about them. So it was a bit cool. Yeah. I, I wish my dad was still around because he would have been interested in this. I wish my mom was still around because I think she would have been able to tell me a lot of these things that I didn't know about her side of the family. So yeah, it is what it is, and yeah, yeah. So this one, and because I'm doing the cross country here, I'm not really worrying about starting over here. I'm doing I'm doing Danish method. It works, especially this kind of big project. It's not going to really matter. So I'll put that there. Okay, that diagonal is done. Let me double check and make sure I did it right. So yeah, I get a little excitable when I get excited about something. So, because I definitely nerd out a lot. So Laura says, I know I'm full Korean, but I got one of those ancestry tests for my hubby. It's interesting. I didn't want to pay monthly to go through his genealogy though. Yeah, my aunt did it, my dad's sister, because from what I understand, there's some vagueness in the family of where people are from. And so, most of it was like German, Irish, Scottish, English, that it was a lot of that. And I don't think there was like any Iberian, but there was this like 10% Middle Eastern, which kind of threw us all off. When she showed it to me, I was like, wait a minute, how's that work? But I used to watch a news channel that had a Turkish guy on it. I don't watch it anymore because I'm kind of, yeah. And I swear his mannerisms and the way he talked, he's also from he's from California. So that there's that too, it's kind of a similar speech, but like his mannerisms, he looked like my aunt. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know, but it was kind of interesting. So let's move this box. Oh, you know what? I didn't do the other line. I need to do another line. So I'm ready for the 2, 4. And I'm using the water soluble because this is a printed fabric. Oh, the ragged are out. They're the people who think that muscle cars are fun. And so they're, yeah. So they have really loud cars and they like to make their loud cars sound. And so they just drove by. It's interesting. Okay, I'm just repositioning my diagonal. So it will work here in the... And I did get around to doing the diagonal thing because last night I was messing around with Saga and Paradise and this morning. And so yeah, it's a bit fun. I'm like, there's that weird angle again. Okay. So yeah, just, yeah. So this is really fun because there's not really a ton of colors in here. So it will go kind of smoothly. And so, and I did park this where I didn't really want to park it here. I wanted to park it, and that's okay. I just repark it. So, but this is where you would do this. Well, actually, that's right. Okay, wait a minute. Let's go back here. Let's think about what Chris said. he would go from here instead. That stitch instead. So let's move these over here behind the, oh, it looks like the Swedish flag. Okay, so let's do that instead. And there's, let's see. Oh, see, this is what's kind of good about these patterns that have a lot of block stitching. You can use the drop down menu instead of having to open up the, you know, click and all that stuff. So it's kind of a little bit easier. So this is 3750, and let me see. 1 2 1 2. Okay. It's not going to go very far, this thread. But that's okay. So what my plan is that I sew in these ends and then only do it until it runs out, obviously. And then just go to the next part thread. It's like working with big old, wait, oh, I did that wrong. So yeah. Oh, so today in Sweden is Valborg. It is where they have a big bonfire at night. And then tomorrow is May 1st, which is actually a holiday here in Sweden. I forgot until this morning. So I was like, wait a minute. Why does he want to do that tomorrow, Alex's dad? Why does Alex's dad want to do that tomorrow? Doesn't he work? And I remembered that it's May Day. I don't know what time I'm going there. So we'll see what happens, but most likely I will not stream tomorrow because it's Alex's birthday. Well, Alex's birthday is on Saturday, but we're going to celebrate it tomorrow. So, and I actually think that's really short. I'm going to end that thread. So I'm not sure you can see, but I have no problems repositioning my floss to, you know, end the thread. Now that I figured out this cool ending, it's really super. It's easy to pick out, but it's really secure. So I really like it. So there. So I don't know if I don't celebrate Valborg, or it's Valpurgis in English. And I've never, you know, known, it's not something that we celebrate in the United States, so I never really understood it. And I moved to Sweden, so yesterday would have been my 26th year since I moved here, I realized, because it was the day before Valborg, or it was the 28th. I don't remember. Those days were just crazy, busy, don't know what I was doing. When I moved here, I couldn't speak the language, and oh boy, it was pretty crazy. And that is in the way. It's hard to believe. I've been here 26 years. It's like, oh, what the heck? These two blues are just almost exactly the same. Kind of freaky. There's like a subtle difference. That's what's so cool about these patterns, that I'm pretty sure this is a Russian designer or Ukrainian designer. I don't want to say either way because, you know, I don't want to offend anybody by using the wrong country. But I have noticed like the sweet shop is a Russian designer. I know that for sure. This one was on Etsy, has a, you know, Slavic name. So, could be either one, you know? So let me double check. Let me mark these off real quick. But I do notice their style of charting is very similar. A lot of subtle floss colors. You know, they'll use similar ones to do that different look, which is really cool. You know, lots of blends. So, okay, so Renee says I have to get ready for the day. I'm picking up my framework from Hobby Lobby. Oh, I can't wait to see it. And taking your dog to the vet. See you later. Happy stitching. Dress safe, and I can't wait to see your piece. I hope you post it on, well, I know you'll post it on Yogi's page. So we'll see you later at Yogi Stream. Yeah, you know, I don't really mind them either. I think at first I didn't like that Sakura pattern I did had blends, and I didn't understand exactly how it worked. And so I was irritated by them. Like there was a white and a pink, and they just were so obviously white and pink, and that kind of bothered me. But I've learned to like them. So, okay, so this is going to be, let's see, I think I'm going to count that. So 1, 2, so 1, 2, there's this one. And I do wish I could have the app on the screen. That would make it easier because then you guys could tell me if I'm doing something wrong. And this is so chunky compared to even the 18 count with the Forest Friends. And I think that I will end this thread on the next stitch, which is right. Double check. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 1, 2. No, it's 3. Yeah. I started messing around with my Notions app and messing with my floss. I really need to redo my Notions database. But then I start working on it and I think, so I didn't do it. I have to though. I need to know if I need any more floss. You know, all the important stuff. Okay, so I did those. And I did that. Okay. And then I almost pinched my finger in these scissor snips. Okay, and by Renee. Okay. So, and then it's Cricket again. I swear. Is that right? You know, you'd think you could use the frame to see the difference between it. So, okay, so the next color is a yellow color. Is it this one? Yeah, there's only a couple of these. It's this one. So what are you all working on today? KB, are you working? Or are you off today? Working on work. Good. Well, not good, you're working. But it's good that you can listen to me chatter away while you're at work since you can't get to Discord. That sucks. This is weirding out. Okay, so there was only a couple of stitches in this color. But I'm glad you're here, KB. Janine says, I'm working on my Painted Fairy Bunny piece. I haven't worked on it for over a week. I'm missing it. Oh, that one's super adorable. And last stitch. And see, I was right about only taking a little bit, so that worked out. There aren't any more of this color for a while, so it makes sense. And I don't have a needle board for 26 size 26 needles. I actually should do that. Now that I know how the other one worked out so well, and it was really cheap to do, I might do that. Let's see if I can get that in there good. And Laura says you're bobbinating. You're CXC. Oh, I hate bobbinating. It's a pain. I started to do that with my leftovers, thinking it would be easier than having them all in skeins. And I got through, I think, the 100s and the 200s, and I was like, nope, not doing any more of this. I was like, nah, this doesn't work. Okay, so now we can work on this color here. I'm actually going to do this one because this one will sort of be in the way when I'm working on that one. So I figured it's better to just do it and move it out of the way. And I was doing mostly Danish method with this piece anyway, and then just working wherever the stuff went. So it's still similar, just being a little bit more controlled. You can feel the ends. Janine said, so you have needle bores by needle size and not just by floss code. I was going to make one, but I didn't even think about needle size. Well, my original floss board was my floss board was set up when I was working on Unicorn Valley, because while I was working on Unicorn Valley, I would prep needles ahead of time. I would open up Saga and say, okay, I'm going to do these mini blocks. And while I do these mini blocks, I want to set up all these needles ahead of time because I just couldn't not. So it was primarily size 26 needles, 2 strands. But then when I started doing more 1/1, I decided that I would start only doing the 1 strand 28 size 28 needles. So like right now I put that board away because I only have 28 size 28 needles and 1 strand. Same floss, just 1 strand. So I don't know if you've seen my needle board. It's very simple. Let me get it since it's actually right here. Sometimes when I'm working on other projects, I move it. So let me put this away. Okay, so this is my needle board that shines. So let's move that. So as you can see, it's the printout. that I laminated, and I used an owl to poke the holes. And it is on one of these things. It's called a sitdina. You could get them. You can get them anywhere, even at the local grocery store. And it's a little foam pad that you can sit on when it's cold and wet. So these are, so you can see it looks like a hot mess, but you know, you just kind of go like that, and then you can, you know, I know sometimes I will turn it upside down and shake it a little bit, and then it'll fluff up again. And my threads are all waxed, so it's pretty easy to just separate them. You know, take a thread, and if a thread pulls off, I just don't worry about it. You know, because some of them are quite short. Like this one is number 12. That one, oh, that one's pretty long. And then sometimes like they're super short, like this one. That's not very long. But then I also have a longer one that I might have cut off from something else. So what I think I'll do is that I may do a little bit bigger. I have to look at the size of paper. I believe A5 is bigger. Well, I know it's bigger. A5 is bigger. This is an A4. So the A4 is a little bit different than letter size. Let me move my lamp back over. And it was really easy. I just sent away for it to be printed from a print shop in Stockholm because, yeah, you know, I couldn't get a color copy here where I live. So let me move the lamp back where it goes. That in KB, that is not even. It's all there. Yes, okay, there's a lot of threads jumbled up. It kind of makes me tweak a little bit because, you know, I don't like the mess. But then I also know that they're all on the board by the right number, and I don't really have to worry about anything. You know, it seems to work. So you know, I don't worry about it. Let's see. We're gonna put this here. See, I don't really like going over stuff like that. So you know what? I'm gonna flip my work and weave it in. I don't mind. You know, I may only just grab one thread, but yeah, it is what it is. So I don't mind. And my hoop flips so easily. I figure, why not? If it makes me happier to have it a little bit more secure. So you can see a little bit of difference in these two gold colors. But anyway, yeah, I think that I'm going to, because I am working on more 14 count projects like this, and like love letter, or not love letters, Valentine Nook. I might do that. And I have a bunch of size 26 needles. I almost always use the ballpoint needle, but to do 1 or 2 stitches, it's pretty handy to have the needle board. And it's not as big, but I really don't really have any place to put something that is as big as like Yogi's felt board, because I have one of those felt boards and they're huge. They're huge. They're expensive here in Sweden, and it's just, it feels unnecessary in how I can get something like this piece of foam for, you know, like $1 or something. And I think they have bigger ones even, like, you know, I could go to the dollar store and get a yoga mat and cut it up. It's the same stuff as like a yoga mat. This blue came up with the gold. I'm like, don't want that there because it makes it muddy. So that's the other thing is I would have, if I'd known that was going to happen, I might have done the gold first. But it's fine. I think I got it out of there. So let's move those and those. And there's two more. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And no. Oh, that's only 3. That's why. I was like, that's not right. I can count. No, I can't count. That's why. So yeah. It is what it is. Okay, so this one is next time going quite far up. So I am going to see, this is where I would have ended it and put it on the board. So I'll have to put it back on the floss drop, but that's okay. Because it's pretty far up. It's, yeah, I don't, whoa. Oh, shoot. I'm like, all of a sudden it closed. That's because I forgot to plug my tablet in. Oh, okay, there we go. Woo, made it before it turned off. It was like at 15%. Here I am gabbing away. I remember to plug in my phone, so that wouldn't happen. I need a new phone probably soon because its battery is dying. Oh, I don't know if you heard about this, but the EU has made a rule about phone batteries being replaceable now. They've made it so that new phones have to have a replaceable battery, and they have to be, parts have to be, if I read this right, parts have to be available for 10 years, which is really great. Because like my phone is, there's nothing wrong with my phone except for the battery starting to be a little, dying a little bit. And if I could just fix my phone, then I would be able to use it longer. So I think that's a bit interesting. And this was 3820. I just read that the other day on Facebook because I don't actually watch the news anymore. I follow an English-speaking newspaper. Sometimes it pops up, sometimes it doesn't. Yesterday it popped up a lot because Sweden is controlled by, actually I heard about this before. I heard about this yesterday when Helga was here. They used to have a rule that you could live here for 5 years and then apply for citizenship. And the 𝐒𝐈𝐓𝐇, so the Swedish Democrats, which they are anything far from democratic, they are white nationalists, and they have super slim majority, or they're in with the party that is in power right now. So for the party to be in power from the left-leaning parties, they allowed these white supremacists join in their coalition. And they're all, just like all the rest of the white nationalists, far-right, crazy people. They do not want immigration. They do not want, there's a lot of that stuff. And so they wanted to pass a law that people would have to wait 8 years to become a citizen. They would have to take a language test to proof that they could speak the language, and there was a couple other things, and also have to pay a bunch of money. And of course, nobody wanted that. And so they did some hoodwinking, and yesterday the left-leaning coalition put in like a amendment to this law saying that people who had already applied and were waiting for their let me mark these before I forget. Okay. Waiting for their citizenship, who've already done all this stuff, paid the money. So they said, well, any of these people who've already applied, and I missed, let's see, wait. I missed a stitch on the top there. Already applied, they should be exempt from this. And so this party, this part of the right cult, they consider themselves conservative, middle, moderate class or whatever. They voted, they only had like 22 votes or something, if I understand correctly, because the article was behind a paywall, so I didn't read it. But so they posted like little bits of it, and so it was like by one vote that it failed. And so all these people who have been maybe probably for the last 2 years, because immigration is quite behind since COVID, who have been waiting all this time, will now lose all that money that they put in to pay for that and have to wait. So yeah, I'm like really glad that I got my citizenship. I'm going to fix this a little bit because there's enough thread to keep going, but I want my thread to be over on the other side. So I'll do some English ones. So yeah, and it kept coming up on my Facebook feed, and I was like, and every time it came up, I was like, oh God, thank God I'm already a citizen, So yeah, interesting times we have here in the world. But most likely these people will not, hopefully, stay in power. They didn't, yeah. And Janine says, I bet the phone companies are not happy about that. You know what? But screw them. So, the phone companies, we're talking Apple and Samsung and all that stuff. They do it so that they can sell more phones. And, they should, they want to sell more phones. And so they make it so it's proprietary, like the proprietary connection for Apple products. EU said, no, you can't do that anymore. You have to use the universal USB 2. So yeah. And Janine says, sounds like it is here. It's not easy to get citizenship here either, and it's expensive. Well, actually, it's quite easy to get citizenship here. I got it very easily. I sent in my money and my paperwork, and I got my citizenship within 6 weeks. But right around that time, there was a large influx of immigrants that came in from Syria because, Western cultures ruin things. And so there was a lot of immigrants that came in. And then COVID happened. So then everything's really far behind. And that's about the time when the Swedish Democrats, which they are not Democrats, came into power, or not came into power, but started gaining traction because of racism. And that's because because people were like, oh, all these immigrants are coming in, not thinking that these immigrants are coming here because Western civilizations are ruining, colonialism is a thing. So yeah, it's a bit interesting. But it's always the same type of people that do that. They're the boomers. They're the people who live out in the country, and they think the others are the bad guy. So yeah, it's a different experience being an immigrant in another country, how you're treated compared, and it's also that whole thing, expat compared to immigrant. So because I'm white and American, they would call me an expat, but I'm an immigrant. Just because I'm white, and pass for a Swede, I'm still an immigrant. I mean, it's so weird, the thinking that some people have. Let's see where I'm at now. I was gonna do. Oh, okay, yeah. I missed where I was at. I was like, wait a minute, where am I at? Yeah, here. So I'm going to actually start here. Yeah, so like where I live now, the apartment building I live in was built during when the stuff in the Baltic was kicking off. So they had a lot of immigrants coming in from the Baltic countries, and so they built these apartments that I live in. So it's kind of interesting. So these were built like in the 80s. And it's weird because this apartment doesn't even have a basement, and usually they always have basements in Sweden. You know, so it's interesting. But I do just like, oh, thank goodness I already did that. I don't have to deal with it now. Um, because I don't know if I would pass the language test. I haven't taken Swedish since, like over 25 years ago. And I mean, I can speak Swedish, but I can't write Swedish. I'm really bad at it. Um, and it's kind of sad because I have a friend in Stockholm. She is Canadian. Let me double check where I'm doing these. Okay. Um, and before she moved to Sweden, she was in a bad accident and has a TBI. And because of the TBI, she struggles with languages and stuff like that. So she's never been able to learn Swedish, though she's lived here for the same amount of time as I have. Her husband's Swedish, and but I do think she already has her citizenship because she would be one of those people who wouldn't pass it because she doesn't speak Swedish. And she's gotten through it, like she can, I think she understands it well enough that but she doesn't speak she doesn't speak Swedish. So, I worry about people like that people who've lived here for a really long time and may struggle with that. They are Another thing that they're doing is sending immigrant children home. I think I messed up a stitch here. Let's see, for that one. Okay, wait. Let me do that real quick. It was I marked it off and I was like, oh, there's a stitch there. It's kind of hard with the diagonal because you don't have that line where you are. But this is something that these white nationalists insisted on, was that people who've lived here their whole lives, and it's sort of similar to in the States, Hold on a second. I'll answer your question for a second. People who've lived here, their parents are legally allowed to be here, but they came here as children and they were legally allowed to be here because, they came here legally. But now that they're adults and they're maybe going to school, they're studying to be nurses. This happened recently to two sisters who were in college studying to be nurses, which are very needed right now in Sweden. They sent them back to, I think it was Syria, where they hadn't lived there. They spoke Swedish, they were Swedish, and it's the same thing. So they sent them home. They sent them back, which is so sad. Yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry. I shouldn't go off on that tangent. The test that immigrants have to do is not easy. Correct. You're right. They do need to take an English class. Yeah, we do too here. Took my sister-in-law, who is Filipino, who had some trouble with it. Exactly. Because, Asian, I had a friend from Thailand in my Swedish class, and she really struggled with pronunciations because of there aren't a lot of these same letters and words, and so she struggled with pronunciation a lot. And she was very highly educated, so yeah, I understand that. And let's see. Mandy Moran says, could anyone help? I scanned my fancy lady into bed. You can't put it in Pattern Keeper because, there's not. But let me know which one it is, and I will do a little bit of my pirating ways, and I'll find it for you. Because I have a website I can look for it for you. So if you let me know which one it is, I'll help you out. Because, honestly, you could go and find it too. I could tell you where to get it. I will tell you where to get it. But I already know how to navigate it really well, so I can go find it for you really quick, and then you'll have it. So which one is it? Magawan. Is it a Bella Filipina? And KB says the basic steps are easy, but it would definitely be harder if you didn't already speak English. That's for sure. Okay. I'll look it up because I am nearly 100% sure that it is on this website that I have access to. So I'll look for it and let you know later. My email address is in the description of my YouTube channel. So you can email me, or you can also contact me through Facebook Messenger. Since we're already in the same Facebook group, you can find me. I'm Suzanne 𝐒𝐈𝐿. I can't even say it. I can't even say my own last name. I would fail the Swedish test for sure. But anyway, you can message me on Facebook and write the name down, and I will look it up when I'm done with the stream. I can do a really quick search in my hard drive and see if I have it on Dropbox. So here I am going to, oh, that looks really messy. I'm not pulling my stitches quite good enough, I think. Trying to be a little careful. This fabric is a bit on the hard side. And so, I don't feel like my stitches lay so neatly as I would really like. So I'm going to end this thread. So yeah, so if you message me so I can get a hold of you again. I don't know if have we messaged before? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So Just send me a message with that information and I'll check. I can actually check right now since I'm finishing this floss because that's kind of exciting. That would be exciting for you. I helped with some mirabilias too. So there's a Russian, similar to Facebook, place that I see your message, that somebody has done a lot of work converting a lot of patterns to Saga. So there are just so many patterns. It's like pretty interesting. I mean, like that's where I got all the dimensions one. I'm gonna look it up really quick in my Dropbox because I did download a bunch of Bella Filipina. Let's see, Mag, we. Let me look in the Bella Filipina folder. It may not be named that. Sometimes they name them differently, like they'll name them by codes. Here we go. There's my folder. And her name was Meg. I don't see it, but I'll look for it. I'll look for it on. No, there's Marianne. Wait, maybe. No, they're not in order for some weird reason. It's because they're different. Like the names are different. Yeah, they have different names listed. Like one will say Bella Filipina, and one will say Bella F. One will say BF. You know, so they're all out of order. But the one I see that's closest is Mayari, but I don't think that's it. But I'll look for it later for you. And yeah, I don't work on paper patterns. So yeah, because they irritate me. I can't see. I just can't see. So I'll look it up and see if I can find it because yeah, why not? I'll do it. I have no problem with that. Okay, so 3750, I ran out of floss. I mean, this color is really pretty. It doesn't show up on my computer screen as it does on in real life, but it's quite nice. KB's never heard me talk this much, have you? I'm just blah, blah, blah. Sorry. I'm definitely not the calming voice of Yogi. I'm a little hyper. So. I've known KB for a super long time, just like Fred and Jen. Yeah. She's got the most fabulous black cat and orange cat. They're so cute. I love them. They all have cats. They're all cat people. I'm a cat person too. I just don't have a cat anymore. And Clara says, yes, the mirabilias are hard to follow using humongous paper charts. If they're going to do paper charts, then do them page by page and not one huge paper chart. And KB says, it's nice to listen to while I'm doing my super tedious work. Oh, thank you. And Fred does have a million cats. Why did you do that? Why did you not do that square patch above the dark blue? Because I'm doing it. So I'm using Chris's method, but kind of tweaked it to do it by number instead because I didn't want to move my cart back and forth because I'm lazy. So I'm doing it by number. So this number is higher up. And so, yeah. And these colors won't go down here. They're going to go over here anyway. And Scanus, hello, welcome in. I love both cats and dogs. I had cats first, though. I had 7 cats at one time, but they're all passed now. I have 1 cat and 2 dogs now. Ooh, nice. I used to have dogs when I was still married. I had a dog pretty much since I moved to Sweden. The first month I lived here, my sister-in-law was like, I know somebody who needs to rehome a dog. And my ex-mother-in-law was going to take the dog, but it was in heat and they had a male dog. And so they were like, okay, well, Suzanne can, and my ex was going away for 6 weeks. So they were like, oh, this will be good for Suzanne. She would have company. And so I ended up with a golden retriever, beautiful golden retriever. She was about 8 years old, who didn't speak a lick of English. So she didn't understand anything I said. And I didn't speak any Swedish. So the dog just looked at me like, what the hell are you talking about? But I had her for 8 years or something, or not 8 years, 5 years or something like that. But she passed away. She had cancer. So I missed her. Her name was Julia, like Julia, but pronounced Swedish. And then I had a rough collie who was super silly, broken dog. Loved him too, but yeah, he was way broken. So, and then I got a Chihuahua, which was weird after having 2 really big dogs. And he was also quite broken, but he was fun. I loved him. So on these parts, this next part, so next one that's coming up is 3821. So it's the the light burst. So it's going like they're going like this. So it actually kind of works out that I'm doing them separately. Oh, okay, that's so and this color here is completely different. So I think that my idea worked out. I think anyway. I'm going with that. So let's see. You're lazy, LOL. I can be too. Laura says, I prefer dogs, but ended up with a million cats. And Clara says, I have 3 Chihuahuas, 2 of them almost 10 months old. They are boys and very skittish. They bark even if it's a leaf falls. Oh, that's too bad. My dog barks at everything too, Clara. They have a bark at each other this morning. Chihuahuas bark at all times. I think they just want to be big dogs. And Clara says, LOL, Scanus, mine make me laugh all the time. Yeah, my dog, okay, so my dog was a Prague Ratter and Chihuahua. It was almost completely Prague Ratter. So he had the best of both worlds. So he had that lazy, bark at everything, Chihuahua side, and then the hyper super smart Prague Ratter side, and he was just so cute. But when we got divorced, I moved out of the house and moved into an apartment, and the dog he couldn't handle it. It was like every time anybody made a noise, he was barking, and I ended up with, and Alex was not dealing with the separation, and so they would play off each other, scream, there would be screaming, barking, and I was having PTSD with all the noise. So I had to rehome him. But you know, it was so hard because I loved that dog so much. But he was so silly. This dog, super easy to train. You know, he was super healthy. He was super easy to train, but super lazy. So, you know, he was fine just sitting on the couch with me, cuddling under the blanket, go outside, run around, chase things like a prog ratter, and then back under the covers. And he just was, you know, he was just a weird dog. But so here in Sweden, there's a name for when you're a pet mom or dad. And so mom in Swedish for a pet is matte, which means, you know, mistress or whatever, a dog mistress. And then the other one for males is husse. And so, you know, because I was usually the one that was training him and things like that, I would, you know, like, go to husse, go to husse. You know, I used a little bit of English and Swedish terms. And so he'd gotten used to, like, where's husse? You know, where's husse? Where's husse? And he would look all over. But it got to the point where that damn dog, you know, my ex could be sitting right next to me, right next to the dog. And, you know, I could say, where's Husse? And he would scamper off the couch and run to the front door and bark. And I was like, oh my gosh. So it got to the point where he couldn't say Husse. And my ex-father-in-law, he was far because of he's Alex's grandpa. So, you know, like I always repeat a lot for Alex so that he would learn to speak because he was really struggling with speech. And so, you know, I'm like, hey, Farfar's here, you know, and I would do that excited. Oh, look, Farfar's coming because Farfar, you know, he's his favorite, you know, kind of thing. And the dog would run to the door and wiggle butt and, you know, bark, 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 bark. And it was just so funny. It was so funny. So we couldn't say Farfar because every time we'd say Farfar, the dog would run to the door and bark, you know. And this dog was just crazy, crazy. Oh, wait, I just bucketed the whole thing. I marked off the first ones, but I hadn't done the second ones. So because I'm just going to start another thread down here for this color. Yeah, why not, right? I'm making this my own technique. Yeah. And I miss him. I really do, but it was really difficult because I couldn't leave him home alone because he would just bark at everything. And I had to crate him, but crating is illegal in Sweden. But I couldn't leave him out because he would get into stuff because he would get anxious. And so, yeah, it just came down to the, you know, I was shaking all the time because he was barking all the time. So it's sad because I really loved him. He had the softest little deer ears. So I haven't had an animal since Rex. His name was Rex. So I used to call him the Chupa Chihuahua, or he had all sorts of different names. Rexy Poo, Chupa Chihuahua. Yeah, it was fun. I miss it, but I don't miss walking. I do not like walking. I like biking. So when I had my collie and when I had the collie, and then when I had the golden retriever, and then later the collie, I would bike when I'd walk because I hated walking. But then I didn't have a bike when I lived in my apartment, and so I had to walk the dog, and I hated that. I hated walking. I'm lazy, I know. I love biking. I just hate walking. So let's see. Yeah, okay. Making sure I'm doing the right thing. I'm just talking a mile a minute. Oh, yeah, yeah. Woo. Hope you guys don't mind. But we did have a fenced in, fenced in. It wasn't really fenced in at the house. The dog would get out anyway, and then he'd run down the street and bark at everybody, and it was pretty bad. But yeah, whatever. I don't mind. The neighbors didn't like it, but yeah, he'd chase cars and stuff like that. Okay, and so here's the same. So these two colors, they're far enough apart that I'll just do them separately. And this is another one where they're, I think, if I remember right, these were like, yeah, 320, 3820, 3821, 3822. So they're all like sequential. I was gonna say I probably didn't need the long of thread, but that's goes down pretty far. Okay, so let me read a little bit. Okay, Foxy. So Skeena says Foxy, the name she came to me with, and Letty are mutts. Foxy is some kind of terrier, so obstinate. Letty seems to be like a lab greyhound mix. Oh, nice. But who knows? Dogs are hilarious. Yeah, they are. We have a fenced area in the yard, so I don't have to walk them if I'm not feeling it. Yeah, see, when I had Rex, I just never walked him because I just let him out in the yard. And then Skeena says, and when I do feel like it, we walk in the rest of the yard. Yeah. And hi, Ava. Welcome in. Hello, Suzanne and everyone. How are you doing today? And hi, Eva. So do you say Eva or Eva or Eva? Eva. That's right. And Mandy's asking, is this full coverage you're doing? Yeah, I don't think you were here when I showed it. I'll show the pattern really quick, so you can see it. It is Howl's Moving Castle. Wait, just let me move this down. My stand is so shaky, sorry. So I'm working in this corner here. I had already done some of this, but I wanted to try the diagonals on this side. And then there's Sophie and Calcifer, and Sophie wearing her ring, trying to find Howl. And that's Mr. Turnip Head, who is a prince that is enchanted. So yeah, I don't know if you've seen this movie. It is one of the best movies. I love Studio Ghibli. And Skinna says, love that. Busy Mom Stitcher says, I have a dog. His name is Mr. Sparkles. Oh, that's cute. A Maltipoo. And it's Eva. Okay, so yeah. Just don't let you go wait for coffee. Yeah, so this was something I was talking about earlier about the genealogy stuff. My great aunt, so my auntie, her name originally was Eva, and she changed it to Eva with two V's because she wanted to be different than I think her sister-in-law or something like that. So yeah, it's a bit interesting. So it's a bit of a different pronunciation. And then here in Sweden, my ex-mother-in-law, her name is Eva. So, and she, yeah, her name is Eva. And also, you get, instead of a V, sometimes here in Sweden, you get a W instead of V, which is kind of interesting. Okay, Laura, right after this, you go and watch it. I haven't seen any Studio Ghibli movies. I think the library has them, so I may do a little marathon next week. Yep, you got to do it. They're on Netflix, or they were on Netflix here in Europe. I'm not sure if they still are, but that's where, But then, because we watched them before they were on Netflix, it was before we even had Netflix here in Sweden. We downloaded them. So I still have the original downloads we downloaded when Alex was like 3 years old. My stepmom always changed the spelling, wanted to change the spelling after that. Uh-huh. Well, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know when she changed it, but I know she told me she had changed it, but by the time I was old enough to remember any of that stuff, I was quite little, and she was already starting to have dementia. So, we would talk about her name a lot when I was little because I was interested, and she had a really cool signature. And so I used to go up to her, she'd be sitting in her chair. She did a lot of hand stitching, and she'd be stitching or something. And I would go up to her and I'd go, Auntie Eva, can you write your name down here? Sign your name for me. And so she would do this, beautiful flourishing name. And I'd go, thank you. And then she would tell me like what her, because she'd sign it Eva B. Ross. And then she would have to tell me what B meant. And B was for Belle, which isn't that a beautiful name, Eva Belle? I mean, it's just weird. It's so cool. So anyway, yeah. She was the one that taught me to hand sew when I was about 3 years old. She was super special. I loved her so much. Okay, so this one I'm going to park there too. And I'll grab another thread. Almost done with this diagonal list. I actually think this way of doing it is much faster. I'm finding that I'm getting more done quicker doing the diagonal and parking instead of just, well, I guess Howl was there was a lot of starting and stopping on Howl when I was working on that. And it was really light, and I wanted to do something a little bit darker because it is kind of weird to see. So I've been thinking I've just been thinking about, names lately. Yeah, don't watch Grave of the Fireflies. I don't think I've seen the whole thing of Grave of the Fireflies because when I found out about it, it was after Alex was born, and I was really struggling. I'm pretty sure I had postpartum, and I was struggling with a lot of crying and stuff. And so I don't think I watched it because I was too afraid. I stopped reading fantasy books, like deep fantasy books, because they were all too depressing, and I would end up crying and stuff. So I've never watched it because I was so worried about it. I know what it's about, and I know, yeah, it's just super sad. But I love Studio Ghibli movies. They're just the best. So Eva says, I have a Yorkie named Sneakers. Oh, that's a great name. And we're watching my son's dog, Pumpkin. Oh, that also is a great name, which is an applehead Chihuahua. Yeah, I think that Rex was probably applehead. He had that same look. And Mandy says, do you have any other hobbies other than cross stitching? Do I ever? Okay, so should we list them off? I do all sorts of stuff. Originally, I think my first hobby was sewing. Sewing and knitting probably were the first ones. So I'm an avid knitter, and I have been a seamstress pretty much my whole entire life. I don't sew very much these days. I'm kind of, yeah, I don't know. I haven't done it a lot lately. But let me look at this real quick. So yeah, I do knit a lot, and I spin and I weave and I do bobbin lace. I have done some felting. It's not one of my favorites, but I have done it. And I do some crochet, but it's not my favorite. I'm into historical recreations, so I've done a lot of sewing of costumes. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff I've done. Okay, so let's see. I'll read again. And Skana said, I would love to have a small dog. I think these are my last pets, though. Oh, that's too bad. My grandfather had the best name. Oh, my grandfather had the best name. Her first name was Mildred, but went by Millie. Oh, yeah, I like that name. And her married last name was Millie Mele. Oh, that's cool. I just found out that my great grandmother, which one was that? Was Grace Mildred. I never knew her name. Sneakers will be last, or unless our last, unless the son has other ideas. My cats have long names. Yeah, they're great names. Tedderson Eugene Bear, and he's Ted. And Charles Flea Ray, Charlie. Oh, that's great. Your cat's name is Simon Pegg. Oh, that's awesome. I love Simon Pegg. He's so funny. So now I'm going back to 9:30, and that's the last of this diagonal. This is going really fast. I've already done 200 stitches, and I'm gabbing away. That's pretty interesting. So this one, and the reason why I'm picking this one up now is that I ran out of thread, and so I'm going back. That was the one I did to begin with, a parked thread. That's pretty cool looking. Yeah, and I had a cat, and but she got out of the house. She got out of her apartment right after Alex was born, and we couldn't find her. We have no idea where she ended up. And I loved that cat so much. But her name was Maya, and it was, I believe, if I remember right, because I hardly spoke Swedish at the time when I got her. I got her the first year I lived there in Sweden, and her name was Maya Gradnus, which means Maya. Maya is the name Maya, and it's with a Y, and it's with a J instead of a Y. And Gradnus is cream nose. And if I remember right, because it's all a blur back then, my ex-husband's niece named the cat after a TV program, because it looked like the cat from the TV. But she was adorable. I love that cat. I loved her so much. I miss her. So I haven't had a cat since she passed away, because she was too special. It was really hard to replace her. And even my ex was like, every time we talk about getting a cat, it was like, no, we can't, because Maya was it was just too special. So, yeah. And I thought about it a couple years ago. I was like, oh, maybe I'll get another cat. And then I was like, I don't have to clean my house. Let's see. Janine, my great grandmother's name was Minnie Burrell. Oh, that's such a great name. And Skena says he's obviously a ginger. Simon Pegg. Oh, okay. Charlie's a ginger too. And Maya was a ginger, which is really interesting for a female cat to be a ginger. But she was a ginger as well. Best cat ever, I swear. She was the best cat. My paternal grandmother was named Netta. Oh, that's a great name too. Not sure what her middle name was. And Ava said, such great names. My grandmother's name was Beulah Rosetta May. I was named after Ava Ross. And KV says he is so a ginger. Yes, he is very much a ginger. That cat is hilarious. So yeah, names are so cool. So it's super weird that both of my grandmothers, my father's mother and my mother's mother, both had the same name, Evelyn, which is super cool, isn't it? Like, I mean, kind of weird, but cool. I was named, Suzanne is not a family name. That I was named after Suzanne Plachette, my mom said. I'm like, great. It was a typical 60s name. Like I had so many friends named Susan and Suzanne in the 60s that grew up with me. But my middle name is the same as my mom's middle name, my great aunt's middle name, and my great grandmother's middle name. So it's really cool that, I have that, and Alex would have been named Ruby Irene if he had been a girl, but sadly he was not a girl. I am going to park this up here. It's pretty close. I just have to figure out where it's at so I don't make a mistake of counting. Let's see. It's 4 down, 3 over. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. I said 4 down and 3 over. 2, 3. There it is. Okay. And then, this one right here, let me mark that. But names are just so interesting. I love old names. Alex was going to be, well, at first I was like, he was going to be Linnea, which is a very, very Swedish name. And then I was like, no, maybe he'll be, and then I decided I wanted to name him after my aunt because I really miss her. Oh wait, this is that one. Okay, I didn't mark that. I didn't mark that stitch. Okay, so this might need a new one. And this makes sense because there's this yellow stripe and then there's another field of huge blue. So separating those, it's sort of like the color flow, where you're going to have a couple of different, you can have a couple of different spots set up. So, yeah, but names are just, they're cool, It's fun. Let's see. So KB says he's so ginger. I read that already. And Scanus, Clara says calicos are females. Yep, that's right. And small percentage are male, Scanus says, but I've never had a male calico, 3 females. Well, 4, 1 dilute. I love walking through cemeteries and looking at old names. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? My calico's name was Callie for Calico. Sometimes I would call her California or Califras. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, because you can't really call her Cali for California. That's illegal. Wow, you can actually see this. I just every once in a while I look up at the screen and I was like, wow, that looks really cool. Um, Tedrick. Ted gets Tedrick. Yeah, it's like you gotta terms of endearment are a thing. I mean, it's like Alex. Like I said, I didn't call him Alex until he was probably 5. I called him. Well, first of all, his name was Biscuit when he was a bun in the oven because funny thing, my mom would always talk about she loved cats, so she would always be like, the cat's Biscuit in, and then my ex named like all the computer stuff was named like Biscuit or something similar. And so when I was pregnant with Alex, I was like, instead of saying you have a bun in the oven, because biscuits were so like my mom made the best biscuits, and so I would call him Biscuit, and it stuck. His name was Biscuit, and then when he was born, he's Alex, but I was like that name just or Alexander. I was like at first it sounded like it would be a great name, but then he was born, and I was like, but he's not. He doesn't feel like an Alexander, right? I was like, nah. Every time I tried to call him Alexander, I was like, no, that's not working. Clara says, and you can do a bit of backstitching now. I haven't even started doing it. Skinnis says, Simon, Mr. Man, or my orangey boyfriend. And Skinnis says, I like Biscuit. It's cute. Yeah. So then when he was born, I actually made him an email. So he's got an email from, as soon as I got home from the hospital, I made an email for him. And I guess I didn't really think it through too much. Because when he was born, he was huge. He was huge. Oh shoot, I just marked some stitches. I'm trying to make my box bigger again. So his nickname in the hospital was Alex the Chub, because or Alexander den Stora, Alexander the Great. And so I did his email, Alexander the Chub, which, now I'm kind of like, I don't know about that one so much. But he still has that email. He's had it for 18 years. But then we started calling him the Bicky Boy. And so then if you go to Instagram, his Instagram name is the Bicky Boy, which is like short for biscuit. And then I would call him Biscuitito, Biscuit Boy, all sorts of, I would just like, he's got so many nicknames. It's crazy. So, yeah. I'm just checking. Oh, Siska posted something. Ooh, okay. So now we're back up to the top again. Oh, wait, no. But you know what? I am going to do this at the top because this only is up here in this top portion. So there's no reason for me to just go down to the bottom. I'm going to work on this up here. Why not, right? So, Ava said, I got ambushes and did 1,100 stitches on one of my projects yesterday. Wow. Paying for it now, elbow's a little sore. Yeah. And KB says, I've called my husband Bear for 24 years. I forget his real name sometimes. We joke that I really chose the bear. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I call him Wolfie, so I never called my ex by his name because it was like really hard to say, and he went by his nickname, which was like impossible to pronounce. I had a really hard time pronouncing it. And so I would call him mate, or dude, you know. I would be like, hey, dude, I never called him by his name. But formally, I would call him by his real name. And when I typed something, I would call him by his nickname because I couldn't say his name. I mean, that's bad, right? I still call him dude, or something. I mean, I can say it now. I mean, but at first I couldn't say it, so I would just call him anything else but that. That didn't go very far, did it? That's it. That's Stitch. So when I do Danish method, and I don't want, and I know that I'm going to pick up stitches here, I will sometimes move my ending like that and then stitch over it. So that's, I think, what I'm going to do here. And then I have to switch my cart on the other side. And this is 157. And my uncle's name is George, but we call him Moose, and he prefers Moose. Yeah, it's funny how names are like that. And Skana said couldn't do 1100 in a week probably. And Skana says one of my nephews is called Moose. Ava says my girl's nicknames are Shorty. She's taller than me now. And Boo. Son's is called Nico. Nico? Yeah. So my mom's best friend when I was growing up, we were like super close, both families. Like I still call this friend's my mom's best friend, she's still around, my mom's best friend. She's like a second mother to me. And her kids were like brothers and sisters, a sister to me. I still call my sister, even though we're not related. But she had 5 kids. She had 2 boys, and then my sister Amy, and then 2 more boys. And the third boy that was after Amy was by a different husband. The last 2 were had different fathers. And his name was Leroy Joseph the Third. And so because his dad was, also Leroy, they would call him Boo Boo. And so I would always call him Boo Boo because that's what his name was to me, right? And last time I was home was in like, it was almost 20 years ago. It was 2006. And I was at some, I messed that up. I just realized. It's because these stupid lines. Let me fix that real quick. I can leave that because that's just going to be stitched over. But here, if I can, nope, that's not going to work. This stupid exercise. So when the stream's over and I've stopped working on this, I will go through with my water pen and remove those extra lines that I miscounted. So he went by Boo Boo, and like he was at one point he was in high school or something. I came home to visit. And so he was, they were all around, and I was still calling him Boo Boo. And his friend was like, you're the only person that's allowed to call him that. And then I was saying, what do you call it? When I was home last, I was at their house for a birthday party for one of his kids, which was weird to me. I wasn't ready for that. And because I've called him Boo Boo all his life, I continued saying Boo Boo. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like 30 years old or something by then. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you Boo Boo. And he's like, nah, it's okay. You're the only one that gets to call me Boo Boo. It's so cute. I mean, it was hilarious actually. My mom caught a picture of when he was a baby. When he was a baby, I was already like, I think he was born, I was already like 15 or something when he was born. And so, he was like my like baby doll. I was the oldest of all the kids, and so, I was the babysitter pretty much. My mom caught a picture of us. I was blowing a bubble gum, and he went to give me a kiss because he was so cute. He used to kiss me all the time. He used to try to kiss me all the time. And she caught a picture of him kissing me as I was blowing a bubble, and there was like this bubble between us. It was super cute. I wish I still had that picture. Let's see. Skina says, my late brother was named 𝐉𝐷𝐿, named after my uncle. Oh, that's an interesting name. That's kind of cool. He went by his middle name, though, Matthew. Okay. And Ava says, we call my granddaughter Boo Boo. She's the youngest. The youngest is called Zozo. Oh, that's such a cute. I love Zozo. That's a cute name. One of my brothers was named after my grandfather. Well, he was named after my dad and my grandfather. So his name was Richard Wayne. And because my dad was Richard, he went by Wayne. So yeah, he went by his middle name, which was confusing. A fun thing here in Sweden is that people usually how it's written, and I still missed that. I still did it wrong. Wait, I still did that wrong. Damn it. Oh dear. Okay, let's see. How many times the other day or yesterday, I think when I was working on the dimensions kit, I swear I frogged more than I actually stitched because it's later at night and I was getting tired. Yeah. Okay, well, I split the threads. Let's see if I can get that out of there. But names are just really interesting. So here people, the names are backwards. So your middle name here in Sweden is usually your first name. That's the name that you go by. So your first name is, it's odd. So a lot of times, if like I go to the doctor, because I'm registered as Suzanne Irene. And so like sometimes if I go to a new doctor or something, they'll be like, Irene, because that's Irene in Swedish. And I have to kind of double take because I'm like, what? Okay, so let's do this correctly this time. Oh, this thread is going to be fried soon. I'm trying to be careful so I don't fray it more. This is the third time I've ripped it out. I actually am thinking, maybe, we'll see. So let's count better. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and remove that right now. It is really bothering me. It was this one. I miscounted when I was counting because I was trying to do it too fast. There we go. I'll fix those later. Yeah. And it confuses Alex because his name is Alexander, but his first two names are different, So he thinks he's Alexander Thomas Robert and not Thomas Robert Alexander. It's kind of interesting, kind of fun. I like names. I've always like been fascinated by it. This doesn't look too bad. Hopefully, these threads are. If I frog this one more time, these threads will have to be trashed. But I think what I will do is I will. See, this part looks a bit funky, so I'm just going to pin stitch it end the thread. I don't usually frog this much. It's because I'm just super hyper today. There we go. All right, well, it's ended now. Don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay, so let's see. Oh, no way. You know, Janine, I think we're almost twins. That's funny. My husband's name is Richard Wayne. Wow, that's weird. And you're in Massachusetts, right? Wayne was born in Massachusetts, actually. And KB says, hey, that's what I use for watercolor painting. Yeah, I know. I bought these for Alex, and then he hated it. My husband, or Ava says, my husband goes by his middle name, Mason. That way the family knew they were talking about his father, and he had the same name. Yeah, exactly. And Skana says, yeah, that's really good for removing pen. My stand, I'm watching, because I'm reading the chat and watching, I see the screen, and it's really, really shaking a lot. Sorry. And Laura said, Skana said, Mason is a cool name. And Laura says, my father-in-law is Robert, so my husband, and so is my husband. We usually call the father-in-law Bob. I always thought it was weird that there was no Bobbert. So this is another interesting thing. My brother, I had three brothers. I only have one now. The other two passed away. So the one that's closest to my age, he passed away in like 1988 or 87 or something like that. So we were like twins. We were really close in age. But he was named after our great uncle, Robert Walter Ross. So RWS. And so he went by, so Uncle Bob went by Uncle Bob. And Robbie went by Robbie. And then later when he was an adult, he went by Robert. And then I named Alex after my brother and my Uncle Bob. But I only used Robert, and I didn't give him the name Robert because they pronounce it really weird here in Sweden, and I didn't want that because it's a special name. It is definitely a family name. So Alex, he's mentally like maybe 5 years old mentally. He's super smart, but mentally he's 5. And when he was having problems, like having meltdowns, we found that Bob Ross, the artist, would make him calm down. We would turn it on and it would calm him down. And so a lot of times if he's really angry, he'll ask to watch Bob Ross. He doesn't paint. Alex doesn't paint. He draws with pens. So, but he loves watching Bob Ross. So one day I was talking to him. We were talking about his name because his name is Thomas Robert. So he's named after his his dad's father, and my brother. And so I was like, I was telling him about Robbie because he was reminding me of Robbie a lot, which is sad, but kind of glad because I miss him a lot. And so I was telling him that he was named after Bob Ross. And he's like he's like a mentally 5-year-old kind of things, and his eyes lit up, and he's like, Bob Ross. And I'm like, no, no, no. And I knew that, I was joking with him as well, but he is named after somebody named Bob Ross. Janine said, oh no. Janine says, want to hear another similarity. My mother's second husband's last name, which she changed her name to, is Ross. It sounds very close to Ross. Well, it's Ross. 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 Am I saying it wrong? That's how we always said it, in a California accent. Yeah, so Alex thinks so we always say that, always say, well, you're named after Bob Ross, Alex. And he thinks it's funny. He loves Bob Ross. He's not Alex isn't interested in painting. His medium is pens. He uses alcohol pens now. So he does fine line drawing and then uses alcohol pens to fill in. But he's definitely artistic. Okay, so here I'm going to. Do you ever feel like when you do English stitching compared to Danish stitching that they look a little different? Like I want my thread to go over here, so I'm going to do English, but I always feel like it looks just a little bit different than Danish. I mean, I think it'll be fine. Yours do. Okay. So yeah. I don't usually, well, I would say I don't usually chat away like this, but yeah, I do. When I often have this when I go, I can just talk about, I'll just start talking and get off on some tangent or something. And then I go home and I think, oh my God, people must think I'm stupid. Oh my gosh. What do they think of me? It's seriously a disease. So hopefully, see, I'm really tempted here. So this is where the diagonal ends, right here, or here. I do this one. Wait, I meant to close that one first. And there's like one stitch here. I'm like tempted to stitch it. I actually think I will. Because then there's a gap again, and then I'm going to be up there. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. And let's go here. Because, why not? I'll just do it. And then park it. Well, it's getting a lot done. It doesn't look too different. I actually sometimes, it depends, but sometimes English looks better than Danish. But then sometimes Danish looks better. It's sort of weird. Danish method, English method. Okay, so that one's done. And so I will go down here and I'll re-chat a little bit. Skinna says mine do. My stitches are kind of messy though. Yours aren't. Oh, thank you. KB says, I mean, what else are you going to do? Just stitch? Plenty of boring people already do that. Aw. I did put on Lo-Fi Girl though. I need to take a drink of water because I'm just talking. I'm really noticing, it's much easier to speak English after all these years of not speaking very much English. I'm kind of like, blah, blah. My plan though is, speaking of back stitching, like I had planned when I finished Howl, because these are all in like vignettes. I planned on doing the back stitch on them. So it's possible that I might do this block and then do the back stitching, because I think that I'd like to make sure I keep it under control. So that looks pretty good. I love this fabric. It's just such a pretty color. Well, my stand really wiggles. Sorry. Okay, Skena says, I have to go mow the yard. Happy stitching all. Better you than me. I cannot mow. I'm so allergic to grass. I'm like just sneezing thinking about it. I keep hitting my stand. Sorry. Okay, so I am going to now stitch from bottom to top, I think. And I don't know, I may not. I may go back up and just because they have their own sections, so I might be able to just go up to the top and start stitching down again. And this one's going to go, you know what I need? No, I don't need to bother with that. I was gonna say I need the little counter, but I don't really need it. I actually will. Let me mark this bottom square real quick. I find that drawing the diagonal, I mean, this is a waterproof water pen anyway, so it's not gonna hurt to use it. So, and I find it's a little easier to figure out where I'm supposed to be. And if I counted right, 1 or 2, 4, wait, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Okay, I'm gonna get the other pen though, because that one I need to buy a new one of those ones. Those are that's really nice because it's really fine. But this works pretty well on the 14 count. There we go. So I like that on Saga, instead of it being a line, a diagonal line like in Pattern Keeper, it is a zigzag. So you can actually see where that stitch needs to be, which is really nice. And it's really faint, but you know, I can see it. Hopefully I did that right. Oh, I did. Okay. There we go. It's a bit of an optical illusion. And it makes it easier because I used to have that crosshair stuff. And so, you know, I use that as a counting, you know, how many to count down and stuff. Let's see. I need to do, let's see. Let's do that. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, one more. And then no. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. It's like counting. How is counting so difficult? I think that I will actually be able to get to the end of this diagonal with this little bit of thread. There's more of this color up higher, but this was really close to where I ended that. So this is 3. Hopefully you can see. Oh, you can see. Okay. I may have to move the camera a little bit. Well, this is as far down as I'm going to go anyway. So as long as you guys can see that. Playing thread chicken again. And the video is like not at the same place as where I'm at. So every time I look at the screen, it's like off. Okay, so I'm just going to end this one. There's more of this, but that thread is really short. Oh, of course, I split that. There we go. Yeah, it's just barely at the bottom of the screen. But I'm not going to be working down. That's the farthest I'm going down anyway. So I won't bother repositioning the camera for that. I don't have to worry about the shaking and all that. As I hit my hoop. Sorry. It's not very stable, though it's a really great stand. Okay, so let's see. The next one would be this color. And I am going to grab one of my big these big, what do you call it? Oh, and I missed it anyway. These big Chinese magnet or needle minders are really great for putting the threads behind them when you do it right. Because they're pretty strong and they hold it pretty well. And then I put it over the back like that. Oh, there we go. Now we've got clear, and this one's a nice long one. So this is 930, and there's 120 stitches in this color, but you know, they're broken up into sections. So I'll do this section and then move on. And that, let me move my pattern a little better. I'm actually glad I switched to this side. This makes it, as Renee says, it like gives it, you've got a different section. It's like a new start completely. It's really, really nice to work on. Let's see, here we go. It's like really off, not live. And there's me talking again. At least I'm not talking with my hands like I did yesterday. Yesterday I was like constantly going like this. I'm actually going to put on the number. You know, in Saga, there's a place where it will count the number in the row, the number of stitches in the row, and in vertical and horizontal. And I had it off because sometimes it gets in the way. Sometimes the little flag will be in the wrong section. But it's really handy when you do block stitching like this, So this one has 6 stitches. I don't, I can double check, so I can use this edge, and then, I kind of, yeah, because counting is a bit of a challenge. And I had it off because sometimes the little labels with the numbers get in the way, and you can't see the symbols underneath it, which is annoying. But it's good that you can turn it on and off, which is nice. So there's 7 here. Busy Mom says, oh, where is that in Saga? Okay, so if you look at the, for me in the Android, it's on the sidebar. I think it's in the bottom for iOS, but it's the symbol that looks like it has a 5 in the middle of it. That's where you would do that. And if you long press it, you can adjust it for number of where you want it, what color it is. You can have the bottom to top, top to bottom, right to left. It's pretty good. It depends. Sometimes I like it on the left. Like I have it on the left now, especially since I'm doing a lot of Danish style. Because then if it's on the right, then sometimes it'll get in the way of where I need to see stitches, for counting. So I do sometimes turn it off. I turn it off and on. Oh, you're at work. So I'm guessing you don't know if you found it or not. But it's a little symbol that looks like it has a 5 in it. Depending on if you have iOS or Android. I only know where it is on Android. So Busy Mom says, oh, okay, I know where it is. Also, another question. When you do a goal, where does it go when you're finished? Okay, so if you go into the, what do you call it? You know where the statistic icon is? It looks like a little zigzag at the top. If you go in there, there are 2 on the right side. There are 2 little buttons. One is your calendar, and one is your sprint or goal setting. And that's where you can see that. I actually didn't set a sprint this time because I was too lazy. And because I haven't worked on it, the calendar still works. And that's what I don't think Yogi understands. She always removes her sprint. I don't think she quite understands that she doesn't need to remove it. She can just hide it and keep it there. I keep all of mine unless it's like gotten too much, or if I've turned it off in between. So, and you can like when you start the goal, that's the bell. And if you decide that you don't want it up on the screen, you just press the bell again and it hides it until you hit your goal. But you can see it in the statistics part. I hope that helps. And Mandy says, I really got to learn how to use Saga. I have it on Android, but if I get used to it, I may get an iPad. My brain is a bit slow. So yeah, the iPad version looks really impressive, but it's iOS, and Alex had an iPad for a couple years, and it was crazy. I just didn't like it. And now he's got an Android tablet, and it's so much easier. So if you don't have an iPad, maybe think about Android instead. But that's just because I'm really an Android person. That is weird. That thread is I'm going to turn this over because my threads are like really uneven, and that means that something got caught maybe. And yes, it did. No, maybe. Eh, looks fine. It's just uneven. Sometimes it does that when it's, what do you call it? Danish. So I'll clip that off. I just noticed that I was like, wait a minute, how is that so? I mean, it's off by that much. It's crazy. Okay, so Busy Mom said yes. Okay. Oh, okay. I'll check it out. I like to see my progress, and I like the goal because it shows the count as I'm stitching. Yeah, I do like that too. Let me fix this because I think I moved it a little bit. I moved the stand a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I do too. And I often, so on this project, I didn't really set a goal to work on it for today. I'll just work on it until I'm done. I'm considering it, even though it is full coverage, it's like not that traditional full coverage. So I'm considering it as in my non-full coverage. And so I'm not making that goal of 500 stitches. Let's see. Laura says, it upsets me. My daughter is an apple person. Yeah. Oof. And Busy Mom said, Laura, our whole house is apple. No. It's bad. It's bad. But you know, it's what you're used to. I had the first Samsung tablet when it first came out. It was a brick, but it was so good. I loved that tablet. So easy to understand, just no problems whatsoever. It lasted forever. It actually still works. I could turn it on. It's just not, they don't, it's not usable anymore because they don't allow it to be updated or anything, which sucks because it's in great shape, which, I wanted it to work. Okay, so the thought here is that I can finish. Got an email. Okay, never mind. I only get emails from certain emails, and I usually need to check it, so I checked it. So this one, there's a lot of this blue in this whole section. It's in sections. So I think what I'll do is I'm almost color flowing on this, if you think about it. Actually, this is almost like that traditional color flow that Gemma did, but I am sticking it to the diagonals. I'm not letting it flow like she does, which is a bit interesting now that I think about it, because this would work for color flow. Interesting. I've never really gotten color flow to feel like it works for me, but I see that this does seem like it because I'm working in different areas. I'm splitting it up a little bit. Anyway, but what I'll do is I will do these stitches here on this diagonal, and then I'll park it in this bottom section where this thread, so that I'm not moving threads over the light parts, because there's a lot of that light yellow, and this is pretty dark, even though it probably won't show, We'll see. Can you see okay down with me down here? Actually, you know what I can do? Let me do something really quick. I love this stand. This stand, I can actually push my hoop up a little bit. And I don't have to move there. Now it's up higher. It's actually more comfortable too because it was down pretty low. I probably didn't consider I'd get this far. Let me check this. Oh, these colors look so just, mwah. I like them. I know when I saw this pattern, I was like, I have to do it. And then it came up in my spin today, and I was like, yeah, I'm okay with that. I like that idea. So we'll see what happens later. I think that I'll be able to start working on something else after this. I got to 100 stitches on my dimensions pattern, and then I put it away because I didn't want to work on it during the stream. I'm not super in love with it. I like it. I like the picture. It's really cute, but it's a tabby on a tree, and it's kind of confetti if you think about it. It's like the tabby colors are all over the place, and it's not super relaxing to work on. But I switched sides, and instead of working from the right top, I went to the left top, which is where it's like apple blossoms or something. And it was actually quite fun to work on there. So I kind of have a renewed interest in working on it. So that's good. But I'm going to keep that for Wednesdays during Yogi stream. Yesterday when we were all talking about Charles Wasaki, it kind of reminded me that I actually really liked his artwork. And I've been thinking about some sort of, I'm American. I'm not really patriotic anymore because I feel like, yeah, but I sort of still, I'm still American. So I'm kind of thinking about a project for the 250th. I know a lot of people are considering that. And it got me thinking that maybe I would do something. So I might look around and see what I find. I didn't think I wanted to do a sampler. So I don't know. It was just something I was thinking about it last night when I was reading about Charles Wasaki. I'm like, I kind of do like that style of artwork. Okay, so now I'm going to do this. Oh, there's only a couple of stitches on this one. Where's my needle? Is anybody going to work on anything Americana this year? Or are we just forgetting that, the United States is a little bit of a hellhole right now? Or not forgetting about it, but not being very patriotic because of it. I know that, who was it? I helped somebody with a memorabilia that was the lady with the flag. Who was that? No, I don't remember. I've been helping a lot of people, so I can't remember. Busy Mom says, I have a new start in July for the 4th of July. It's Stitches So Beautiful chart. Oh, is that the one, the Patriotic Heart one? Was that you? No, that was Sarah that was going to do that one, I think. I may find something small-ish usually I do Christmas in July, but I'm kind of thinking I want to do something for the 4th of July this year. I haven't celebrated it in a long time, but yeah. So this one, I think, so this one again, we've got it split up. I think I'm going to put this closest. Let's see. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 2 stitches between that one, and 1, 2. I'm just making sure I'm double checking my counting, and I'll mark that. Okay, and I'm going to drink some water. No, it has Lady of Liberty in it. Okay. And Dawn, you have that one with the fireworks already, right? The one that's really pretty. Aren't they all really pretty? Uh, and Janine says, I'm not a sampler stitcher, but I do have a nice patriotic sampler I might do, but we'll see. It's called, Busy Mom said it's called Patriotic Sites of US. Oh, I think I know what that one. It has the Golden Gate Bridge in it, correct? I think I remember seeing that one. Yeah, I was looking at some samplers, but I really like my samplers done on linen, and linen is just so expensive that I'm kind of not really. But I may look at some of the smaller patterns. I'm sorry, I keep hitting the stand. My water is like on the other side of my magnifying glass, which is not where I can reach it. Oh boy. I have frozen shoulder in my left shoulder, and I find that I have to be really super careful on how I move my arm, or it will hurt a lot. Okay, so that was that color, and then we have 3821, which is this one. So I'm kind of there is music playing. KB says, put on music and make it look like it's dancing. But I think that people often say, oh, because it can make people feel like they're seasick, or, maybe they're listening on headphones and so crinkling. I know a lot of people say stuff like that, like, oh, and I don't know. It doesn't bother me because I don't care. Things that bother me are mouth sounds, and so I'm really aware of my lisp, and I'm really aware that I am spitting all over my magnifying glass when I talk. It's pretty bad. My poor magnifying glass. I have to clean it off every time. It's like super splattered with lisping noises. I just can't believe. Let's see, let me count these correctly. Oh, these yellows, they blend in so nicely. But then I was looking at, I've heard some pretty nasty things about Nora Corbett, Mirabilia. And I'm kind of like, I don't really like how I've heard that she acts. But then I also really like the Lady of the Flag. There was another one, I think it was Lady Liberty or something. They were really pretty. And so I'm kind of like, maybe I'll do one of those. But then it's also, material and costs a lot. And do I really want to? Yeah. So it's a thought anyway. Considerations. Did I? Wait a minute. I think I made a mistake. That Yeah, I think I went down too many rows. Here's there. And one is there. No, that's right. 1, 2. No, that's right. This looks, I'm looking at my parked thread. Oh, that's why that's off. That was one. I was like, the something's wrong. It was just that parked thread. It's in the wrong spot. There it is. There we go. Okay, so then where did I put, oh, there's that thread. Can you hear the music? I have Lo-Fi Girl playing just because it's really hard to just sit here and not have any music going. So there's that. Okay. And I think I must have hit my glasses with some spit. Okay. And there's that. And then I'm like, what is shine? Oh, I know what it is. It's like the magnifier is really shining in my face. It's because the light is coming in through the window. I might have to go and fix the window. Laura says the Etsy shop that does the flag I'm doing has an American flag and it looks beautiful, but I can't do another flag. Yeah, I didn't really care for that one, honestly, because I looked at it because my friend was doing the Swedish one, and I'm like, I don't know. I think I want something. I'm not sure, but I do need to go close the window because the light is shining. It's shining in a weird way through the magnifier, and it's blinding me. So I'm gonna turn that off for a second so I can put it down here so I can see. But anyway, I'll be right back. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to move the camera because I'm not going to mute the camera so you get to see my back of my head and stuff. Because if I turn the camera off, then I'll have to sit there and refocus it again. So yeah, we won't do that. Oh wow, it says it's 29 degrees outside. We know that's a lie. Okay, there we go. Hoi. I was like, what's blinding me? Okay, now, don't look at my booty. No, I'm joking. My carpet is super gross. Sorry about that. It's one of these super cheap carpets that that just never get clean. Okay, let's turn the light back on. Yeah, I just looked at the temperature and it says it's 29 outside of the window, which we all know that is a complete lie in Sweden. It's what's the temp? It's 17. Wow, that's pretty good. Nope, mirror in the way. Let me see if I moved that right. That's, I didn't have to move the camera again, which is nice. Okay, so we got this good now. Let me move, okay. And let me put that. Yeah, so I'm thinking about it anyway. I was going to do a Christmas pattern, but the one I want to do is one of those, what do you call it? Tutu. It's like a chatelaine, but it's a different company. It's beautiful. I want to do it's the Nutcracker, and it's super beautiful, and I want to do it, but I just can't afford that. Nah. Let's see. So then I'm gonna sew these in. Oh yeah, wait, no, that's the wrong color. This is 930. Oh, wow. Okay, so I parked that in the wrong spot. So that's okay. We'll move it. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, I'm getting peckish. I don't have any snacks. I think I have to, I don't know. I don't really want to go outside because, outside. Maybe I'll order something for dinner tonight. Let's see. That looks really messy. Ugh. I didn't get them quite tight enough, and then it's like a fine line of getting it tight versus not. This floss is so fluffy that sometimes it can stick out underneath if it's not quite tight enough. I don't notice it as much with the smaller counts. Well, that's why I wax my floss too when I do 1/1 because it's so fluffy, and I like it fluffy, but then I also want it to lay nice and flat. So I'm kind of gonna do this stitch down here. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's okay. So yeah, that's an idea. Let's see. Dawn has these cute non-full coverages. I'm always tempted every Sunday. The Christmas and Halloween pieces. I know she's got great stuff. I need to catch up. Because I've been streaming. Those times of the day that I would normally be watching watching FlossTube, I'm doing this, and then by the time I finish, so it's almost 7 o'clock. Oh, it's almost 7 o'clock. I just noticed the time. By the time I finish, it's almost time for yogi, and then I'm like, whoa. Let's see. Let's see. One, 2, 3. Is that there? Yep. Let me just double check here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's right. And there's fuzz everywhere. It's quite a bit of this, but it's kind of mixed between different colors. So I am going to see there. Wait, that's not right. I thought I would do this up here. Yep. I think I might be able to get one more row out of this. Yeah, I think I'll end this over on the other side. Yeah, I think I can do, there's a bunch of stitches here, but they're kind of connected, so that these ones are by themselves. So I'll do these and then end this thread. There wasn't a ton of it. But also thinking, I don't really need another project. So I may not. I don't know. Because I really don't need another project. That's crazy talk. I just started some new stuff. And now I have to buy new fabric because I started the new start, and then I can't start Red Rock Mystic. Okay, so, and Busy Mom says, Laura, thank you. And KB is heading to break and meeting after that. If you're still streaming after that, I'll come back. Love ya. See you later. I'm probably going to stop pretty soon because I'm getting a little bit butt sore and I should eat soon. I've been eating really late lately. Mandy says, I like these live streams with like-minded people, as I don't see many people don't like crowded places due to ill health. Thank you for doing them. You are so welcome. I really didn't think that I would do that many live streams. I was like, maybe once in a while, and I'm really enjoying it. You know what I mean? So, I'm appreciating that you guys are coming in and spending time with me. It's been really fun. So, so what I think I'll do is it's 10 to 7 now, and I think that I should eat dinner, and I haven't prepared anything because, I'm lazy like that. And so I think that I will stop around 7 so that I can eat and be a good girl and eat food. I actually had a really good lunch, so that was a plus because usually it's so hard. I should eat better than I do, but I often don't. I neglect it because I don't feel like it or whatever. Have coffee instead, which is so bad. It's so good. It was really fun working on this part of the project. I really liked working on Howl, but as I said, red is not my favorite color. I'm not super fond of red, and there's a lot of reds in that. I love Howl because it's Howl, but then I also kind of hate red, and so I've been a little bit like, I don't mind doing it, but this was exciting because I love the blues and the yellows are just, it's so sunshiny, these yellows. Awesome colors. Okay, and then this color. And then I will park that. And this is where I have to be more careful. I'm not watching where I'm parking, but that's a good place to park that. And that's done. And then I will do this other yellow up here. And this is all over the place. But I didn't realize that tomorrow was holiday. It's May Day tomorrow. And I told myself, okay, tomorrow you can go outside, go to the store, go to the pharmacy, do all those things that you're supposed to do, and then realized that it's May Day. So, yeah. Well, I mean, the grocery store is still open. We have a really large supermarket, and they're open all the time. And they have a pharmacy inside there that is open on holidays, which is really nice. When I first moved to Sweden, everything was closed. You couldn't do anything on a holiday. And now it's a little better, which is nice because, it's rough when you can't, go to the store and get something. That was a little bit in the way. I'm going to do this real quick. Do a little grooming. There. Ah, perfect. And then this one will go here. And then I will park it here. There's one stitch here. So I think that I will, because it's all this blue around it, I think that I will just do a small, I'm pointing to my screen, sorry. And let's see. Janine says, time to go do some grocery shopping. I have some work from home stuff before I'm late to Yogi's class. And I like your live streams too. Thank you. And enjoy Walmart. Laura says, I hope you and Alex have a great time at his birthday celebration tomorrow. I do too. I am going to be spending time with my ex. But it's okay. I'm more worried about his mother being there because she's not one of my favorite people. But it is Alex's grandparents, and I don't want him to be denied that. Though I will say COVID was a blessing in some ways because I did not have to deal with her for all those years. OMG, she's the worst. But she loves Alex, and they are super generous to almost a fault. So, kind of have to take it with what it is. I mean, he's getting the birthday present he gets tomorrow from them is going to be something spectacular. He is definitely spoiled. So, well, he is spoiled anyway. You know what I mean? So this was just a small piece. I'm noticing this is getting looser and looser. There was only a little couple of stitches here, and I just feel like, and this is almost like the color flow method if you think about it, because I'm not putting these yellow pieces underneath all the dark, which then will bring up blue fluff into the yellow thread, that's one thing I do notice happens. So, and so now I finished those, so I can go back up to the top and work my way down. There's actually a new color in here. I just noticed. I think it's another blue, 931. Okay, that's cool. And that's down here. There's like a little bit of another blue color. It's kind of cool. I'm really having fun with this project. It's really cool. And Mandy says, happy birthday to Alex tomorrow. Thank you very much. And I will get back to you on that pattern if I can find it. I'm pretty sure because I think all of Bella Filipina patterns are on VK, on the group I'm in. I'm in a Russian group, And Busy Mom says, have a great night. Happy birthday to Alex. Enjoy tomorrow. Thank you very much. And I will see you guys later tonight at Yogi Stream. And, and I was going to tell you how many stitches I did. Wow. 379. That's pretty good. So I probably won't stream tomorrow because of Alex's birthday. And Ellen will stream tomorrow night. So I will see you all tonight. And if not, I'll see you at Ellen's stream tomorrow. And thank you for hitting the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And I'm just, you guys are great. I love you guys. So thanks for stopping in and chatting with me and spending the afternoon with me. And I hope to see you later. Probably not tomorrow, but Saturday, why not? Well, we can do a little bit. I might be able to come a little earlier, and because then Yogi stream, if Yogi does a what do you call it, a members live, then it'll be earlier than that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And if I decide, you guys can always check the community post. I can post it there. If I'm deciding to do a stream, I'll schedule it like I usually do. I'll try to give you guys a little more warning. So with that, I will see you guys later and see you tonight, and bye for now. Thanks for watching.